Today, as promised, we're going to be having a look at Dungeons and Dragons Wrath of Ashardalon. Dun dun dun. So, without further ado, let's have a look in this massive box. We have the rulebook here. Gives you a little bit of an overview of what's going on. Shows all the little bits and pieces. The rulebook's not that in depth. It's certainly not as in depth as something like a player's handbook. It takes a little while to get used to sort of like how everything plays. It's a bit different from 4th edition. I mean, you're still rolling a d20 and you've got power cards and stuff like that. But well, there's one of the heroes there, Caleb, the elf paladin. Some movement diagrams, how to do attacks, power cards, monsters. Some of the monsters in this are terrifying. The encounter deck, which will probably be the thing that kills you. Treasure decks, can't do an adventure without treasure. Learning about experience points. And doing chambers as well. So, and there's obviously a little bit of an FAQ on the back as well, just in case. But that's the rulebook. Then we have this, which is the Wrath of Ashardalon adventure book, and this sort of lays out the starting adventures that you'll need. Well, it'll lay out all the tiles that you'll need for a starting adventure. Tell you what kind of setup you're going to need, what kind of well, here's an example. Tell you what kind of chambers you're going to need and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. I think there's, how many have we got here? 12 adventures, which you can play separately, so just those. Or you can do this, which is the Firestorm Peak campaign, where sort of treasure will be mixed together as you go along, and your characters will advance together rather than starting off at level 1 every time. You'll have the opportunity to buy treasure and stuff like that. So that's the adventure book. Let's have a look at some of these. Here are some of the hero tiles. I mean, you've got Quinn, the human cleric, the hero tiles, yeah. Dragonborn Wizard Heskan, Caleb the Elf Paladin, which we've seen before, Tarek the Half Orc Rogue, staple character that for the Half Orc, and then the Dwarf, Vistra the Dwarf Fighter, and I love dwarves, so I used to play as her. What else have we got here? Oh, these are some of the enemy cards. Got a Rage Drake. On the other side, an enraged Rage Drake. Got here Margrath the Duragar Champion. He's basically a dwarf, so I like him. Oh, and a Tugu. Someone will have to correct me on the pronunciation for that. Crash the Orc Storm Shamer. And Mirak the Kobold Dragon Lord. You'll fight him on your first ever encounter. And he's pretty tough, especially if you're going. I mean, you have to do it solo, but he's pretty tough. So that's some of the monster cards. Here's the start tile that you're probably using for every single adventure. Here's the big. Oh, we'll show him later. Here's one of the big bad guys, Bellax, big beholder, and on the other side, Ashardalon, the red dragon, who you'll be fighting at the end. We've only beaten him twice, I think, out of many games, but well, it just shows how hard he is. You have to kind of exploit the game a little bit to beat him, but as it is. What else have we got? Some cards. So, let's look at these. Okay, these are some of the chamber cards that you'll get. basically these tell you what kind of enemies you're going to be finding in the big dire chambers and stuff like that. It also contains attack power cards for things like Ashardalon there, and also boons as well, which are at the back. Which, when you're doing the long epic campaign, you'll need those boon cards. But they're very cool. I mean, they're all really nice quality stuff. I mean, look at it. Such nice, hard sort of plastic card. Really nice stuff. And full of flavor text as well, which you really want flavor text actually with these things. It's what I do anyway, as a D&D lover. Some little helper cards that you'll get. And also, let's see, on the other side. Yeah. This also contains a few NPCs that you'll meet in the dungeons that you'll have to rescue and things like that. They haven't come up really in the ones we've played, or when we have got them, they've died. So shows how good we are at some of these missions. These are your encounter cards. These will be trying to kill you every single turn. You will have to definitely be spending your experience to get rid of these things. They are terrifying. That is one of the worst cards in the game, and it will brutalise you. Seriously, brutalise you. So will that, actually. In fact, all of these cards will brutalise you in the encounter deck. They are just not nice. But it makes it challenging, and that's the best thing, right? What else have we got? We've got some magic item cards here. There's plenty and plenty of magic items that you'll... Some of them are a bit useless, like the flying carpet. But apart from that, most of them are pretty good, pretty standard stuff. And you get one for every time you kill a monster as well. So, all good. What else have we got? Here are the power decks. So, we've got the Dwarf Fighters power deck. Lots of things that D&D players will know. The Dragonborn Wizards power deck, with also, as you can see, the racial power on the front. The Paladins power deck. The Rogues power deck, the Half-Orc. And the Human Clerics power deck. Now, if you're going to try and succeed in this, never play with just the Dragonborn and just the Rogue. You will die. Play through with at least one of these two, preferably the Cleric and the Fighter, because the Fighter can look after herself and will not need healing. So, and here's the monster deck, which is always interesting. And monsters work in this a little bit differently from normal D&D. In most D&D games, you'll have a DM who will be looking after all the monsters. But in this case, when you draw a monster, you control it. So you can kind of exploit their movement. It doesn't make them easier to kill. It's still an incredibly tough game, especially with less people in it. Maybe 2 and 3 is probably really hard. We've had a lot more success with 4 and 5. Doesn't make it less enjoyable, it's just more challenging. But yeah, these monsters will be ripping you to pieces. So we've got a Grell there. Let's have a quick look at some of these monsters. A Cave Bear. And all the instructions for these monsters is on the card, by the way, so you'll never have to look back into a rulebook or anything. It's all here for you. Very, very simple. Legion Devils, they are terrifying. You get 3 of them when you draw 1. What else have we got? A Duergar Guard. I had to find a dwarf, didn't I? Well, a dark dwarf anyway, but there he is. So, that's monster cards. Let's have a look what else is in the box. We have Ashardalon himself, a nice, lovely plastic miniature. I've been meaning to paint these guys up, but I haven't dared yet. But absolutely amazing looking model. Let's see if we can dig these heroes out of here. That's right. Now here's one of the models I have painted up. This is the Dragonborn Wizard. I need to kind of give him a wash with some sort of Non-specific, gaming-related, workshoppy paint. But yes, there's a Dragonborn wizard. There's the paladin. Dwarf fighter, who I really should be painting up. I really should paint Vistra up. We've got the human cleric there. And the orc rogue. And a D20. You'll always need a D20. I didn't roll very well there though. So look inside this bag of wonders I've got. And here are all the monsters. So many minis. It is so worth the price you pay for this game. Rage Drake. And they're all unpainted as well, so you're not going to get some dodgy copies like you used to in the Wizard of the Coast boxes. Cave Bear there. A human cultist. Perfect for a D&D wizard, I'd say, nowadays. Another Cave Bear. My friend actually used one of these Cave Bears as his druid pet. He's called Steve. That's the inventiveness of his name. There we go. Orc Archer there. So you can see that. And there's the Durgar card, who will be playing a dwarf hero in many, many, many of my campaigns. A few bits and pieces. Let's look at these. Right, well, these are the healing surges. They don't work out like they do in normal D&D. You spend these whenever a hero goes down. Once you run out of them, you're dead. Mission over. You can play with 1 if you want to make it epically hard on yourself. 2 is the normal, and there's another one in the box which is 3, which makes it, you know, sort of alright, survivable, first time round as you go in. So lots of minis. As you'd expect with any dungeon game, you get tiles. So many tiles. Here's a perfect one to explain what tiles do. This black arrow shows that you need to draw an encounter card when you draw it. This fire mark is where you put the monster when it spawns on the tile. You'll always be drawing a monster. You're not always going to be drawing an encounter card. You place it down with the arrow facing the tile you left from. So in this case, that will go like that. There you go. White ones obviously don't draw an encounter card. But if you don't go to a new tile on your turn, you also have to draw an encounter card. So it's a bit of a hit and miss. Very deadly. We've also got, I'm not going to get these out, but we've got a baggie full of more tokens. These are some of the more specialist ones. It's a good idea to separate all this stuff. These are things you might need in the game. That's the other healing token, by the way. These are some of the things you might need in the game. You're probably not going to. And we'll have a quick look on the other side. Yep, this one's bigger, obviously. These are the baggie that you are going to need. That has all the essentials in it. For both players, monsters, HP tokens there. 5 HP tokens there. Should make a monster token. There's a monster health point token. I'm not going to get it all out and get it messed up on the table, but that's all the rest of the stuff. And that's pretty much all you need for Wrath of Ashardalon. I mean, it's a fantastic little game. I've really enjoyed playing it. If you can't get a whole bunch of people together to play in D&D, this is great because you can play it solo, you can play it 2, 3 players, you can introduce new players. You're not going to get confused and stuff like that. Really, really nice game. They also do, there was one before this called Castle Ravenloft, and there was one after this called The Legend of Driz. That doesn't mean you automatically have to go and buy The Legend of Driz just because it says Driz Duerdes on the box, but yeah, this is one of my favourites because it comes with a frickin' dragon and a dwarf hero. So I was bound to like it. But there you go. That's Wrath of Ashardalon. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at the box, and remember, it's all because of dragons. And next time we're going to be having a look at a different game that's not D&D related, called Cutthroat Caverns. So I'll see you then. Bye bye.